I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal in this channel is to teach you how to read the rewards of trading when the price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, we are trying to continue forward. This could be a long lower shadow or a hammer candle, so this could be a bullish indicator signaling we could continue forward. VWAP is pushing up, momentum is gaining strength, money flow is in the green. Watch this very close. Remember, if Dixie continues forward, then usually crypto will pull back. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are pushing up. So Bitcoin is still doing better than total. It's just selling off a little bit less than total is right now. Stochastic is pulling back. Momentum is losing strength. VWAP is pushing down and money flow is weakening. Ideally, we would reject this value area high and see Bitcoin do worse than our altcoins if we're going to get that altcoin season. Over on total for the daily, we are still continuing lower, so we do have a bearish continuation going on. We did break our low here. I was going to say if we broke that low, I would watch for a continuation to the downside. So watch for a push down to the 936. That's where we want to see that bounce to continue forward and then get that bullish breakout over the next couple months. VWAP is starting to push down. Momentum is starting to round away. We do have that red dot, so I would watch, but overall, we do look like we could just continue a little bit of a bearish trend. Watch that VWAP. If it makes a shorter wave here, it could just be a short push down, then a bounce back right up. Again, watch lower time frames as well. Those will tell you if you're going to remain bullish or bearish, because remember, once this 1 hour, the money flow becomes green for several hours, then we can push up. You can see when it broke red, we got that breakdown. VWAP is favoring bearish, so watch that as that needs to push into a bullish trend if that money flow is going to gain strength. Stochastic does want to bounce, but RSI is weakening. If that stochastic doesn't get back above 30, then price will continue lower. So I would watch. Remember, that does mean then all of our altcoins would continue lower as well. Over on Bitcoin right now, we do futures. We do look like we are breaking away from that double top, so I would watch as that lower time frame pattern. Stochastic is starting to round away. Momentum is starting to sell off. That VWAP does have a lower high, so watch if it rounds and gets a lower low. If we get a lower low here, momentum will start to sell off. Money flow will weaken, and we would see a pullback. That would mean we could end up filling that gap zone. We do have a gap area right around this 88K first. So I would watch, maybe we flash crash to that 88K, get a bounce forward. That would be a manipulation bounce out of this pattern. It wouldn't necessarily invalidate the pattern right away. We could see it bounce out for a couple days, then a bounce right back in. But we do want to watch things very closely, because if we did push down to that kind of level and then we continue lower, that's where we're going to fill that other bigger gap that we have. So watch that VWAP. If it continues a bearish trend here on lower time frames, then that daily is going to get those stronger red candles. If we get a quick push down, that would be more positive, because remember, a quick push one way or the other usually is retraced. So if we got a quick push down and filled that gap, we would kill two birds, one stone, because we could continue forward and get a bullish trend going there. Stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is starting to sell off. That VWAP is favoring a bearish trend. Momentum is pushing down, and that money flow does want to break into the bearish territory, so I would watch. Overall, we do look like we could get a little bit of a push forward. It does look like things like Graph could suffer a bit more abolisher, so I would exercise some caution. We will get onto Graph in a minute, but if total is going to continue lower, I would expect all our other altcoins to continue lower as well, because remember, total is pretty much encompassing all of the altcoins together besides Ethereum. RSI is starting to pull back on Bitcoin. Stochastic is pushing down. VWAP is favoring bearish. Momentum is pushing down. And that money flow does want to break into the bearish territory. So I would exercise caution. We did get a retest and a rejection of this neckline from that double top. We tried to invalidate it, tried to push forward. We were unsuccessful, and we got lower highs with lower lows. So we do have a bearish continuation going on right here. That bearish continuation will push us down possibly to around that 99, 98K, that full breakdown area of that double top. Watch that full breakdown, because if we meet support at that double top breakdown, that will be positive. That will help push us forward. And then we could make that 100K another solid support level by getting some further candle action in this range, and then hopefully pushing forward from there. Remember, we are still within our bull flag technically for both total and Bitcoin. So we do still have a possibility to continue forward, and they do tend to break more bullishly than they do bearishly. But remember, trade with confirmation. So if you bought near the bottom, like you should, or bought on a confirmation, then if we're at the top and we're starting to pull back, maybe you want to start taking some profits out. That way you're not over leveraged in your position. I did not mean to do all that. There we go. So over on the 1 hour, stochastic is starting to push down, RSI is pushing down, momentum is starting to weaken, VWAP is favoring bearish, and money flow is pulling back, so we don't look very positive. MPP does say we could come up and retest this neckline area, but if we are unable to hold and break forward from this 100K, 99K range, then we are going to see some further bearish momentum. But just remember, if we do see further bearish momentum, as long as we don't break that 93K, we are still within our bull flag here on Bitcoin as well. If we broke below that 93K, the MPP does say there's a slight possibility of pushing to 84K. If we broke that 93K, that's where we would continue lower. So over on graph here, we do have a rounding top, so I would watch. We are pulling back toward that 16,316, so that is a pretty solid support level. Again, if we break this level, I would watch for that push down to that 14,316 range. There's only a 35% chance, but if total continues to pull back, we likely would see this push down. We are not making a lower low here, so we do have a possibility to get bounced forward on the next candle. If we did, then we could create a bullish momentum and push forward if the highs and lows don't connect. So watch for a straight channel. If we start to get a straight channel here, then the bears may start to win, because remember, those straight channels create rising channels that do break you down. Stochastic does want to round away. RSI is starting to pull back. That VWAP is starting to push back. Momentum is starting to push down, and money flow is in the red. So I would exercise caution here. Over on the 1 hour, it does look like we are projecting a push forward. The highest projection is that there's a lower high, so I would exercise caution, because if we get a lower high, then follow it with a lower low, breaking that 16,316, then that's where we would push down to that 14,316. And then if we can't hold that range, we do have a value area low right around that 13,556. So I would watch those areas very close. And then, like catastrophic, we would push down to the 11-cent range, but I think that's very highly unlikely. I don't think we'd push too much further than this 14 if we continue to see some buying action like we typically do in this time frame. So VWAP is starting to favor more bearish, but we are trying to push forward. If that VWAP can break through to the bullish side, we would have a higher low. Then if followed with a higher high, momentum will gain strength, money flow could push up, and then higher time frames would strengthen. So we do still have a possibility to get bounce here and continue forward. For the next month, it'd pretty much be the same projection that I gave yesterday. It wouldn't really change just because we pulled back. These pullbacks were expected, and we are still expecting a little bit more of a pullback. But even if we got that pullback, we could still see those higher push ups. So we could still revisit these higher support resistance areas once we get some more buy-ins, like around this 33-cent range. And then we can continue beyond that, because we have been there. Let's see. About March, we were back around this 49-cent range, so we could revisit all of that, providing we continue seeing people buying in, and people don't go buy like goofy things instead. Usually we do see people buying in stocks, and people will feel some FOMO with crypto, so I believe we would see some further buy-ins. So over on Anchor for the daily, we do still have that long upper shadow candle. I would exercise caution, because if followed with a red candle, this could start to tumble us down and break us toward that 2020 range. Stochastic does want to push up. VWAP is starting to push down. Momentum does want to gain strength. Our money flow is in the bearish territory, so I would exercise caution. If that VWAP makes a rejection here, we could see these other indicators start to bring us lower, and we could continue to break those supports. So watch these lower time frames. This 1 hour does want to break bearish, so if we see this break bearish and hold for several hours, a higher time frame would be set up to continue to push down and possibly break these other support levels. VWAP is favoring bearish, so watch for that to reject. If that VWAP rejects, money flow will continue lower as momentum will continue to remain bearish and weaken that money flow. So remember, the VWAP leads the momentum, which leads the money flow. So if that VWAP cannot overcome that neutral, we will see that money flow over time continue lower, which over time will weaken those higher time frames because we have more selling pressure than buying pressure when that VWAP is red. That goes for any coin that we're looking at. So over on XRP for the daily, we did reject that bull flag. So that's again why you trade on confirmations, not just because you can draw a pattern. So if you would waited for your confirmation, you would have seen a rejection. That's likely on the lower time frame. We can bring that back just to show what that would look like. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is favoring bearish. Momentum is pushing down. Money flow does want to weaken. So I would exercise caution. If that VWAP continues to push down here, we will continue to push lower and possibly revisit consolidation ranges like this 250, then possibly right around that 220, and then we would see a bigger drop to around that 148 as we did push up very quick right here. So we don't have very much support in that range right now. Over on the 1 hour, just to show how that breakdown will have looked, we did retest our flag. So you saw we broke away. We got lower highs with the lower low. We broke away. That was a bearish trend. So that was your indicator we could continue lower. We did push up to our channel and we rejected. So that could have been your clue right there that we would sell off and that you may want to look for a DCA in opportunity at a lower price. So we did pretty much get the full breakdown move you could calculate it if you would like taking the same measured move, but that's not how you would draw a flag. We did overall see a breakaway. We would like to see some green candles here. We did push down pretty quick, so that is positive because remember, when you push down quick, you can retrace that and push forward. So our MPP is projecting to push up, but it does say we could get a lower high. Watch out for that because if we get lower highs with lower lows, we will continue a bearish trend and continue lower. VWAP is favoring bearish. It does look like it wants to round away, so I would watch. If that VWAP makes a rejection here, money flow will remain red and those higher time frames will weaken. So last but not least, unless we have special requests, we have Algo for the daily. We are seeing a pretty strong push down, again making a lower low with those lower highs. So we do have a bit of a bearish continuation as these lower highs and lower lows do not connect. Again, watch for a break toward that 2848 like we've been warning about. RSI does want to round away. Stochastic is starting to round, so watch if that stochastic breaks. If it does, RSI will lead price lower. VWAP is favoring bearish. Momentum is starting to push down. We have a red dot. Money flow is starting to break down. So overall, I would exercise caution. Over on the 1 hour here, we do have lower highs and lower lows. Kind of hard to zoom in, pretty decent on the price action. We did get a pretty quick push down. That was when that money flow broke bearish, and that VWAP held a bearish trend. So that could have been your clue that we would sell off and break that support level. Stochastic is starting to push down. RSI is weakening. Momentum is favoring bearish, so watch this VWAP. If that VWAP rejects this neutral, we will have a lower high with a lower low, creating a bearish trend to bring us lower, and that will weaken those higher time frames and cause a further push to those support levels. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and join us in that Discord.